And welcome to the program. Now you're unpacking some shit with Wise and McKinsey. My name's Tom Wise.
I'm Melinda McKinsey.
And thanks for joining us.
Yes.
We got a special guest coming up in about 15 minutes.
Very excited. I love our special guest. I'm very excited to chat with her.
So we could talk to Christy about just about anything, right?
Christy's pretty amazing. You know, I met her, I couldn't even tell you, 20 years ago through acupuncture. And it's funny when I think about it now, because at the time my girlfriends were doing acupuncture and I was like, oh, pish posh. Yeah. I'm not doing that.
Have you ever had any success with it? Have you ever tried it yourself?
Yeah, acupuncture actually changed my life.
What? I mean, why are you bearing the lead?
And yeah, well, you know, the quick version, I don't know if we want to get off started talking about my period, but basically.
Of course, that's the only reason I got into this show. Now, 42 episodes later, we're getting to the topics that I'm very interested in.
Finally, let's talk about the menstrual cycle. Yeah. I was in my 40s and having real serious issues with really heavy flows where I couldn't even leave the house, super bad. Went to Christy for acupuncture as a last resort because I'd gone to the doctors and they recommended, are you ready for this? What do you think my doctors recommended?
Some sort of ablations.
A hysterectomy. He said I needed to have a hysterectomy, a full-on hysterectomy.
And I've got an opening next Thursday.
Yeah. Oh, he wanted me in right away. I had very good insurance at the time. I was married to a man that was in the pharmaceutical industry, so we had very good insurance. He wanted me in right away. So I went to Christy because I was scared, and it was a last resort. And like most things in my life, I needed to be put to the flames before I actually made a smart choice. It changed my life. I went to her 3 times a week for about a month or so with herbs and with acupuncture, and everything changed. My periods were very light. They were 3 days. Everything changed because my body wasn't dealing with a lot of the foods with artificial stuff. You know what I mean? Like change it. But I didn't change the way I ate. I still ate the junk. But yeah, acupuncture changed my life. My daughter went to Christy after that for sleeping. She has sleep issues, night terrors, and paralysis and things like that.
Ugh.
Changed her life as well. So huge.
I had one of those night paralysis things the other day.
You did?
I was when I was in Chicago in that rental room I was staying in.
Yes.
I had it's funny you said that because I probably had 3 episodes in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm laying in bed and I'm having this very vivid dream, and then some guy is like a doctor trying to peel back my eye. Let's have a look in here. Let's have a look at and I'm fighting it, and it was like a movie. I'm trying to move my head, and there's like I'm shaking off. You can see spirits and waves of whatever. It was crazy.
Okay.
And I couldn't move. I'm saying, come on, move something. Open your eyes, and eventually it felt like forever, but it's probably 15 seconds that I couldn't move.
Yes.
Because I wanted to move. I don't want to use the word terrifying. My daughter said she gets those once in a while. It would be horrible to get that on a regular basis.
Yeah, my daughter Alex has had a night terrors since the time she was a little tot. She still gets them. And for people that don't know, sleep paralysis is what it sounds like. You are frozen and you can't move. And it's a terrible feeling. I've only had a couple in my lifetime. But yeah, so I think acupuncture can fix a lot of things because Christy can explain it better than I can because I don't know as much about it as she does, but she's a fascinating human being and just a lovely, lovely person in real life.
Absolutely. Hey, we were talking off mic a second right before the show started about the first one to talk loses. Have you ever had a situation where that happened? I mean, that you employed that technique?
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm aware of it. I know I've used it. I have learned through a lot of pain that if I'm quiet, the other person will talk more because obviously I'm a talker. So I have learned, especially when someone is trying to say something that's difficult for them, you have to be comfortable with the silence.
Oh, so you're thinking about a different way.
As I normally do.
Right, because I'm thinking about like car negotiations.
Oh.
You're thinking about having a deep conversation with somebody and they've got to would like to say something. You don't want to fill that space with words because then they may shrink back and not say what they want to say.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about, I just bought a car with the ex about 6 months ago, not even that. And we got to the point where we were talking about price. And the guy said, well, what's the number you come up with? And I said my number, which was about $1,500 less than what he was saying.
Yeah.
And then I didn't say anything, and I waited for him. He goes, well, I can't sell it that low. Well, you asked me for a number and I gave you a number.
Yeah.
So those are very interesting situations where I remember when I was buying the car with the girls, my daughters, I
Yeah.
said, we're going to go in the dealership. We're not walking out with a car today. We're
Yes.
not walking out with a car today. We're going to negotiate, then we're going to walk away.
Yes.
Sure enough, and that's how that whole thing ended that way. And we walked out. The guy couldn't believe I was walking out with my 16-year-old twin daughters and not had purchased the car. And the next day he called me, and it wasn't all the number I wanted, but it was in the direction that I wanted. And then we made a deal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's, as far as car, because I don't think I know anybody that enjoys buying a car because of the haggling, right? It's such a, most people buying a car, we don't know a lot about cars. So we're haggling over stuff we're not sure of. We just know our number. I just got my SUV yesterday from Carvana.
What?
Carvana, there's no haggling. They give you the price. It is what it is. I traded in my car for an SUV. It was clean and lovely. They delivered it. I'm telling you, that's the way to car shop. Carvana.
I get it, but as long as it's a fair price. The dealerships never want to haggle. Come on in, pay what we want you to pay.
Right. Well, and I will say with this particular, because I got a 2018 Honda Pilot, it had a better price because it had some scratches on it.
Nice. There you go.
I live in New York. It's going to get scratched.
So they've done all the stuff for you, and they've come up with a legitimate number where they're, we're going to make 13% in every car, and we bought it for this. We know what the blue book is. We know the mileage. We know the depreciation, and we're going to add our 13%, and that's what the number is going to be. So, that seems like a reasonable way to run a business. But when there's too much VAT, when they're making 50%, that's, when you got to negotiate. But if you know that they're always going to be very consistent, which is not the way things have been sold for the last 200 years. I mean, Saturn tried that. Remember Saturn?
I do remember Saturn.
They are no longer in business.
I forgot about Saturn.
And we bought our Coral's car that way. No haggling. Here's the number. If you don't want it, good luck, because there's not another Saturn dealership around here for 150 miles.
Okay.
And that's the way that went down. We paid whatever price it was. And then the car was nice, but that whole no haggling just disappeared.
I don't know. Have you seen Carvana? Their ads are really cool because they've got this big glass thing filled with cars.
I saw one of those things in Chicago. I was driving on the highway. They had one of those 7-story car vending machines off to the side of the road. I'm confident that they're not storing cars there and they're actually getting cars out of that thing.
It's a great ad because everything's online. So I knew what I wanted, and I just looked at all the pilots until I found one. I was like, why? Because this one only has 20,000 miles on it. So I was like, why? And then they said it has a scratch on the fender, and I was like, I do not care. I live in New York.
Yeah, you're gonna get that thing scratched. You can scratch it yourself.
Yeah, so I was super happy. The guy drove it, delivered it. We signed the papers. He took my Lexus, and it was all done in like 20 minutes. It was fantastic. Yeah, that's future, man.
Do you like the car?
I'm in love with it. I have to learn a little bit about it. I did a lot of research online, but there's still some things. It has one of the eco things in there, the eco stuff. So it doesn't always use like the full, right?
Is it gas electric or just all gas?
No, it's all gas. It's not electric, but so I'm learning about that, but I love it. It's spacious. And, for Will, who's 6'8", that was another consideration, having we have 3 rows of seats now. And so if anything happens in New York, we can, I think it's going to be easier to escape in a Honda Pilot SUV than a Lexus.
Yeah. And if Will's in the car, that will also ease your transit. He just gets out of the car and whatever problem was happening just disappears.
6'8".
He's a mountain.
Nicest guy in the world. But yeah, I'm super happy. So I recommend that if you don't like car haggling, Carvana for me personally was a really great experience. I did all my research, and the price is the price. 2
questions. Yes. Have you ever named a car, and is your car a particular sex?
I love that question because you know what? I had a 1973 Cutlass Supreme when I was in high school, and it was green.
Yes,
and
go on.
I had to pay $250 of my own pizza making money to buy the car. It was a very big deal. And my my friends named it the Green Machine, not a person's name, the Green Machine, because it was a little beat up and so we weren't super careful with it. I've never named a car until I got this one, and I told my sister I want to name her because I love her so much.
It's a girl. I knew it.
What about you?
My buddy Ron, we named he had a Galaxy 500,
Yes.
but the G had fallen off, the logo off the plate. So
Yes.
we called it the Galaxy, of course, which wasn't really super creative, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And I don't believe I've ever named a car, but I did name my bicycle the Black Beauty when I was in 6th grade. I rode that bike everywhere, baseball practice, work, school, everywhere. Yeah. And until Tim McAvoy, he needed to go across the park for something. He brought it back. It was in pieces. The thing, he hit some kid, and the tire was, it was like he smashed it into a wall. I was like, what the hell happened?
Can we look him up and have him on the show? How dare he?
He's the same guy that was in the fight with me when we pulled the woman out of the Jack in the Box.
Oh, the big strong guy.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, Tim, what happened? Oh, something happened to your bike.
Oh.
And then listen to this. I didn't want to buy the wheel because everything was bought off a catalog. Sears did not have a wheel you could walk in and buy. Right. It was a Sears bike.
Yes.
But on their catalog, they offered an opportunity to buy a wheel, just a real rim with a spoke kit. So you had to put the spokes on yourself. Oh my God.
Thank you. What'd you do?
What a nightmare.
Did you do it?
I don't think I was able to do it successfully. Yeah. I remember looking on the kitchen floor, there's like 40 spokes.
Holy cow.
And you needed a tool. I go, what have I done?
Holy.
I think I retired the bike at that point. Got something different.
Yeah. Bike riding is amazing. When the pandemic started, I actually looked at bikes for all three of us. I had no idea the price ranges, so many different styles to choose from, so many options of like the wheels that you could build a bike. I had no idea, but bike sales had gone up, right? Since the pandemic, people wanted to ride a bike.
And they're harder to find, apparently.
They're harder to find because everybody's doing it. We end up not getting bikes because here in New York, there's not always a bike lane and it's illegal to ride on the sidewalk. So where I live, there's no safe, relaxing place to ride a bike. And we decided it wouldn't even be worth it because what are we going to ride a bike in traffic? That sounds horrible.
That's insane. It would be insane. We get this beautiful bike path now just right off the ranch. I take Ranch Road down to the end.
Yeah, if we had a path or we were close to a path, I would do it. But I wish I had a bike, but I don't. And roller skate sales have gone up as well. People are
really. Do people go to the park and roller skate? Central Park? You don't know.
I don't know there, but in Prospect Park, which is close to me, because I'm not in the city where Central Park is, young man. Prospect Park, we do have a roller skating rink, and it's not active right now because of what's going on. But they actually had like 70s nights where people wore neon clothes, and it was like adult night only. Yeah, for roller skating. So there is a roller skating rink available, very close, but.
All right, well, let's do your topics before Christy joins us probably in a minute.
Okay, so I've got explain it. I've got so this happened. I've got wearing pants, which I keep talking about, wearing pants, and the meaning of life / Burning Man.
Wow. That's going to be a whole episode.
I know. What about you?
I'm just, because I knew we were having a guest, I got lazy. I have one topic.
Okay.
Let's see how this ends. # lock my keys in the car.
See, the minute you said that, I thought about relationships.
Wow. Well, we could do both. We could do both ways. That'd be interesting because I was going one way, just like our earlier topic, and then you went another way.
This is why men and women talking is so fascinating because we make stories in our heads, and this is why I think men and women don't get along a lot because we are thinking of two totally different things.
That's crazy.
At all times. Well, do you have time to tell me about your keys before Christmas?
Well, let's do the pants. You want to do your pants? Let's do my keys. My keys is easy.
Do keys because we don't have a lot.
So this is a little technique that I employ. All right. When something's going badly, like it's raining and I get a flat tire, or I can't find my car keys, or like the other day, like the pool thing had broken down. My pool cleaner has broken down. I couldn't get the lawnmower started and this and this.
Yes.
I know in my heart of hearts that whatever the situation is will be resolved. I'm going to call somebody. I'm going to do something. I'm going to fix something myself,
Yeah.
you know? So, but when you're in the throes of it, the refrigerator being broken or whatever it is, you're frustrated, but you say to yourself, up to this point in my life, everything's been solved in some fashion, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to bring Christy in. And I'm saying, pretend like you're in a play saying, I wonder how this is going to end. I know it ends well because I will solve the problem at some point. I will find my keys, or I'll buy new keys, or I'll buy a new car, or whatever it is. Christy, hang on. We're just finishing the thought.
We're just doing a quick little thing, Christy. I like that you say that you think about it as being in a play. I love that idea.
It's a live drama, and I hope I make it to the end, and because up to this point, every drama has ended with me resolving the situation, or the situation getting resolved.
That's brilliant.
Kind of takes a little stress away from the moment.
It really does. I try to talk myself out, because yesterday I couldn't find my car key. I have one car key to the Lexus, and I thought, of course, the day I'm going to sell the car. And I started talking myself down, going, it's okay. You had the key yesterday. It's going to be, but I have to verbally talk myself down.
Right.
Of the stress of.
It's going to get resolved.
It's going to be okay.
And that's what you watch it, see how it is from a third person perspective.
Do you talk out loud though? Or is it all in your head when you're.
I'm not crazy. Okay.
Sorry. There's Christy. There she is.
What's going on?
I am not tech savvy, Tom, in the least. So tell me.
Tom and I are 100%.
I got a crank over here. I got to crank it every little bit to keep this thing going.
Oh,
the fact that the three of us are doing
guys.
It's mind blowing. Hi, Christy. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you.
All your beautiful herbs behind you. We're so excited to talk to you about you and about acupuncture. And I was just telling Tom how you changed my life when I came to you for my period. Now, when Alex came to you for her sleep issues. So tell everybody that's watching like a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am an acupuncturist who is not right now practicing acupuncture per se. I do herbal consults and stuff, but acupuncture is my deal. I've done it for 25 years now, and I love.
Uh-oh. Did we lose her?
We're frozen. That's a bummer.
My practice is or was. And I'm taking care of my mom, and it's different. I'm thrilled to be able to have the opportunity to be here and have time with her and experience that, but it's definitely different than what my life was down there. Yeah. And COVID is the reason. So yeah, because I was doing a lot of back and forth, staying here and then flying down to Florida. So yeah.
Right. And Tom, how did you meet Christy? I don't remember.
Well, I met Christy through you.
Yep.
Was it a Halloween party or just a party in general? Because you girls like the party. I know that.
I think.
Was it a Halloween party, Christy?
It could have been a concert.
I think. What else have we done, Tom?
Yeah, we can talk on this.
Maybe it was a brunch. I don't remember the first. I know Christy's been at the brunches.
I think we met at remember when you did your girls' party? I think that's
Yes. Remember the girls' party, Tom, that we did?
Of course.
That was so much fun. We actually did a party because Tom has this great layout at his house where we had an all-girls night. Tom hid upstairs. We did all the girl stuff we can do without having a man in the room, because it is different, how you act and behave. I'm just talking while Christy's still frozen, waiting for her to unfreeze. And then we had Tom come downstairs, and we asked, there she is, she's back. Tom come downstairs, and then we asked him all the dirty questions. We want to know the truth, what men thought about things. And then the women lost their minds because we mentioned Tom's shoe size. Remember that?
Yes.
Is it a 16? What is it?
It's a size 15, actually 14 and a half. They don't make 14 and a half.
I mean, who do you know that has a shoe size 15? Come on.
I've changed my opening joke now. For my comedy.
Yes.
I said, hey, before we get, let me answer three questions I get all the time. 6'4", size 15, and 3 times a week. I play basketball 3 times a week.
Oh, that's good.
Oh gosh.
That's really good. I really liked having that girls' night. That was super fun. It was
That
so
was fun.
generous of Tom to let us have that space. We need to do more things. We can do it remotely too. We need to do more things like that where we're just supporting each other, laughing.
That would be fun. Yes.
We played that fun game where we had the paddles with the red and the green, and we would ask random questions to get answers from people. And I don't remember what the questions were anymore, but they were hilarious because people are braver with the red and green paddle. You know.
Yeah, then just hold up their hand. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was a ton of fun. But we've done lots of things like the parties, the Halloween parties. I just got the memories up from or was it 2 years ago, the Wizard of Oz, when we did Wizard of Oz.
That was a good one. That was the Wizard of Oz.
That was so much fun. We had a good times. We had a lot of good times.
Yeah.
Definitely. I remember being asked the question by one of the ladies, and they weren't happy with the way I was answering it. And then a couple of the other ladies jumped in on my behalf and started answering the question. Like, no. It's like, thank you. I'm just gonna it could have been turned into an angry mob. 40 women.
I think you're right, Tom. I mean, I remember that there were some times and questions where they were doubting your sincerity in your answers. Is he really that much of a gentleman? Oh, that was fun, though.
That was fun. So tell us about all those bottles behind you, all those jars.
Those are all my herbs back there. There's probably about 320, something like that, herbs in jars back there.
Wow. What's that plant next to you, dear?
That is a fake plant.
What?
It just sits in the corner.
How many, all the viewers thought it was pot.
Oh, well, no, this is Indiana. That's not legal here.
Can't do that there.
Do you see the smoke rolling up here? I don't know if you can see it. It's my incense burning, but, and my moxibustion, because I'm a pyromaniac and I like to burn things no matter what. Issues, whatever, I'll burn them. So I like to unpack shit.
Yes.
Thank you. Did you send Melinda the link you sent me about ASMR?
I did. I did.
Are we going to talk about that?
Yes.
We can.
Yes.
Well, Melinda, you and I had talked about, sleep, just meditations, going to YouTube and finding something like that. But for a while, I've been seeing these ASMR things as I'm looking for meditations and different stuff. And I had no idea what it was. But when I started reading more about it, I was like, my God. So then I listened to one. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't feel orgasmic with that. So,
where's the horn? I got a horn here somewhere.
Are there restrictions on wording we can use on the show?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're iTunes explicit.
We are explicit. We can say whatever we want. But and here's the thing about orgasms, because really, how do you know? You don't know how someone else's orgasm feels. Like I've been in dating situations where I've tried to describe what it feels like. 'Cause I don't think men understand. Because when you think about sex, we're allowing them inside our bodies, right?
Yep.
And so what that feels for a woman, and on top of the fact you can have more than one, and there are different types of orgasms that it's hard to explain. But my response to Christy when she sent me was, maybe these people haven't had a good orgasm, and that's why they think this feels orgasmic. Because there are some people, I've met people that have never, or females that have never had an orgasm.
It's true. Yep. Definitely.
So
it's pretty interesting. You'll like it. I'll unpack some shit with you. And
please.
This is just like way TMI, but
yes, I want to know.
When I 18 months ago or so, I was in a car accident. And a lot of things happened. I got some herniations and different things in my spine, different stuff going on. So when I went in to get treatment and therapies and stuff, one of the things that they sent me to a physical therapist, a pelvic floor physical therapist, which I'd never heard of. And so her first question to me was, so are you currently in a relationship? And I said, no. And she said, are you masturbating? And I was like, well, no. I immediately was like, armor up and ready to go.
Yeah.
And I was shocked that that was the deal. So my homework that week was I had to go home and masturbate. So it was pretty bizarre. And I have told my mother about this, my sister. So when they watch this, they already know this. It's nothing brand new.
Too bad high school wasn't like that. I would have gotten straight A's.
Exactly. But so, yeah, I mean, it was like bizarre. So I was shocked. And from my age and my whatever my time in life, I was like, oh my God, she just blatantly just asked me if I masturbate.
Yeah.
You thought you were at a bar.
So what was the purpose behind that? Was because you're working the muscles?
The pelvic floor muscles and stuff, because I had some issues with my spine where the herniations occurred. The nerves going to the pelvic floor were being affected, and I was freaking out about it. I was like, oh my God. So then the physical therapy was kind of bizarre.
I would know.
But it was a fun experience to see. Not the masturbation. Well, I can't say that wasn't fun too, but
that's fun.
I was given permission to masturbate.
It's a prescription.
A certain
prescription, exactly, Tom.
But did she tell you a certain technique, like how? No, so just overall masturbate. No. Like she assumes you're a good masturbator.
There was a huge assumption there. A huge assumption.
So wait a minute, I got to ask you a question about the treatment. Was bizarre.
It was, because then there were some intravaginal things that had to happen, and I had to do a biofeedback thing. Tom, I do not want to talk to you about this.
Well, because I've heard of like chiropractors sticking, somebody put a finger up your butt and make an adjustment in that fashion. I mean, it never happened to me, but I've heard of that.
I've never heard of a chiropractor doing that. That sounds wrong.
I've never either. But since the accident, I started going to a chiropractor in conjunction with the acupuncture, because I wouldn't do the normal Western route of shots and surgeries and injection, all that stuff. So
the fun stuff. Go on.
The fun stuff, yeah. So I've been down this road of new experience with the chiropractic stuff, and of course falling back to the acupuncture and things. But I was just shocked at some of the dynamics with these therapies. I didn't know that they existed, but I've not had a chiropractor attempt to stick his finger up.
I think that's a different kind of a chiropractor.
I've had men do that.
I've got a group on it. Mentioned nothing about that.
There's a special name for that. So this therapist was called a pelvic floor.
Hang on, I'm going to try to get my license on the internet. What's it called? Pelvic what?
Pelvic floor therapist.
Physical therapist. Yeah.
Christy, it's interesting that she would assume that you're good at masturbating, because that's not something that women have always talked about or even been encouraged to do, because that is a type of an orgasm than having a sexual orgasm when you're penetrated. So that's
right. So it's very interesting. She's a young millennial, so she probably just assumes that, or I don't know, maybe it was just her line of work. Maybe she just thought everybody does this, or I don't know. I mean, I was quite surprised.
I mean, Tom, I guess it's different for guys. I've never had anybody ask me if I've masturbated, maybe in a relationship as you're talking about sexual things, but no one like out in the world has said, do you masturbate? So that's interesting.
I don't think I've ever had anybody ask me that, even in relationships. I don't know. It was just a bizarre thing. And then to have homework with it, it was interesting.
Yeah.
And I had to report back, Tom.
Were there pictures? Did you have to take pictures and prove what you did?
No, I had to describe certain things a little bit, but not too much. It wasn't too detailed. It was just like, were you able to? Well, that was the other thing too, because they were concerned that I would lose my ability to have an orgasm, which freaked me the hell out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's bizarre. bizarre stuff. But I had no idea these people existed. No idea. My ex-daughter-in-law, actually the doctors didn't even recommend this. My ex-daughter-in-law sent me to someone, and I was just surprised. I was shocked, but because there's lots and lots of issues with women with pelvic floor stuff, especially after giving birth and different things. But I would just, I was just surprised. Very surprised.
Was it helpful at the end?
It's been very helpful. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It was very helpful.
See,
I love just looking at Melinda. Look at her face.
Here's what I want to say about that.
Is that what her face is doing?
As women, we are having to show our vaginas a lot for like the gynecologist.
Get a raise.
Pregnant, when they'll do ultrasounds vaginally, where at first it's shocking, but quite honestly, you're kind of like, oh, here we go again. And, you're going to put something up inside of me again, where men are so not having to deal with that compromising position where you're laying flat on a table, your legs are up, and they're manipulating with a part of you that you consider private, like you do consider it private.
But all private parts. For a reason.
For a reason.
Did your parents use like fake names? I don't think my parents ever used fake names for the parts. Did any of you?
For whatever reason.
My parents, go ahead, Tom.
Go ahead, Christy.
My parents never talked about those parts.
Toonie wee was for my penis.
What? Are you making that up?
Toonie wee.
Toonie wee. Okay.
I don't know where it came from, but it was handed down from generation to generation, I'm sure. I mean, by the time I came along, I was number 6. So yeah, that's what we're calling it. I asked no questions.
Well, that's interesting. Toonie wee. That's very interesting, Tom. You still call it that?
That could be my radio name.
When you had your kids, how did you utilize the verbiage with your children?
Huh. I don't think that we had nicknames for them.
You did talk about sex with your children, right?
Of course. I told my girls, I said, when they were turning like 14, I said, let me just tell you, boys are crazy. They would want to stick their penis in a hole in a tree. They're that crazy about sex. So, don't be a hole in the tree. It was funny, though. Many, many years later, I was talking to my daughters about, that conversation. They don't remember that conversation I ever had with them.
Oh.
But Spencer said to me something about, and she recounted about how, I don't want to be a hole in a tree. And I'm like, that's what I said when you were 14. But when she was 20 something, she came back and used that same terminology with me. So it came with.
Well, you can be confident that it's in there subliminally. You planted that, Tom.
I mean, it was gross, but it was something.
No, that's very true. So, Christy, would you recommend this pelvic floor treatment for other women? Maybe
I'll be certified by the end of the day, by the way, on the internet.
Give me a card, Tom.
I wish that
pass those cards out.
Yeah, he'll pass them out. He'll do virtual exams if that's what it is.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Did you guys, either one of you guys, watch the Gwyneth Paltrow thing where she did all the segments of different things that her company was exploring? And one of them was with women getting together and discovering their vaginas and learning different things, learning what it looks. Most of us don't ever really look at our vagina, which is fascinating because men are always looking at it. Why aren't we looking at our own parts, right? So would you recommend that maybe as a teaching tool for women, do you think?
I think it's definitely very helpful in the fact of, well, for me, I couldn't tell, like when I would, this gets way too intimate. I can't believe you guys are really good at this.
We said nothing but hello.
Unpacking some shit. But when, you had to, I had to do biofeedback stuff. So again, there's an insertion. And then she would tell me to squeeze certain muscles, activate this muscle or activate that muscle. And sometimes she'd have to touch that muscle for me to be able to identify it. Because I couldn't even, I was like, it was like weird because I couldn't feel anything at certain areas of my vagina.
Yeah.
So
if we say one more time vagina, they're going to take us off the air. So, please use the B word or something, a signal.
Vaginas rule the world. So many things are done.
So when she was doing the biofeedback in my vagina.
Yeah.
Oh, I said it too. Oh.
We're at the limit.
It was bizarre because, you know, here's this machine beside you and you're trying to make the connection in your brain and your body and so you had all these things happening. But it was I felt it was very helpful in understanding. I'd never had any issues before at all that I was ever aware of.
Right.
And with the accident, the way the seatbelt cut into my lower abdomen and my groin, it was it just caused all this different damage and stuff. So it was bizarre, but I think women definitely, we need to start opening up more about that. And because if there's a pelvic floor physical therapist out there that does all this stuff with you, then you definitely, there's a lot more than just me needing some repair there.
Absolutely. There's a demand. There's a
high demand. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting?
Yeah. I think
did you find the website, Tom?
Yeah.
Well, because here's the other end of the spectrum. Tom, did anybody teach you how to masturbate, or you just figured it out on your own?
It's all madness.
Right?
Yeah.
So we were never.
I was as surprised as the next guy. What the?
But I think male masturbation is openly discussed. Female masturbation is not. I mean, I've dated men that were offended by the fact that I could reach an orgasm with masturbation because they wanted to be the only way that I could reach an orgasm, which I think is very selfish. Come on, man. It's just a penis. It doesn't rule the world.
You know, this is an interesting. Well.
It tries.
Yeah.
You guys do everything for the vagina.
I have a question for you ladies.
Yes.
Okay, when you're in a relationship with a man, right? I guess it could be a woman. Do you feel offended if he masturbates?
Depends on the circumstance.
Yeah, I think it would depend, but I wouldn't typically, I don't think. I think I've gotten over the whole concept. I think I used to when I was younger, because I used to think, oh my God, I'm not meeting his needs and not understanding, because I am from a family of all girls.
Me too.
And so there's no discussion of men and masturbation or any of that kind of stuff. So you don't know. And so I didn't realize that a guy could do that like 100 times a day. And it wouldn't have any reflection on me or my ability to meet someone's needs. So, I don't know. It's bizarre, but for women, it's taboo for women. I think it's still pretty taboo.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Red? What's your opinion?
Well, I think if they were masturbating in lieu of having sex with me, it would bother me. But now, again, like Christy said, that I'm older, I fully understand more about masturbation than I did when I was younger. When I was younger, if the guys were masturbating, I didn't know anything about it. So there was nothing, but I definitely would have been offended at that point in time, because I would have thought, what about me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not understanding what that was.
That's that's a really interesting topic, because there are so many not layers, but so much misunderstanding about that. And men do masturbate in a relationship, out of a relationship, and it has nothing to do with their partner. Maybe now it could have there could be a correlation if they're not getting enough sex and she's mad at him and for other reasons. But the old, I'm masturbating and it's the woman should take it personally is, I think, not even, it's, we're just changing the oil. We're not even thinking about what's going on. There's no emotional connection to the masturbating.
But it's done in secret.
But see, that's the difference between men and women too. Because women there's a whole different, different dynamics with it. I actually, in my practice, when I became a doctor of Oriental medicine, I did some training in Oriental medicine and sex, which was very interesting because it's looked at very differently, and it was using information that's, 5,000 years old and such. So it was very interesting to study that and to come to realization of some of the things that I had no idea about. I didn't realize that, and it's best for men if they do this, but men can actually orgasm without ejaculating. Most men don't know that, don't realize that, but they can do that. So, and it's very healthy for them to do that because of the dynamic of how energy works in Chinese medicine. So, yeah, so it's all kinds of.
Is that done in such a way where you get close to your climax and then you slow it down? Is that how they have the orgasm without ejaculating? How does it work?
It's actually training their pelvic floor muscles.
I need some guy sticking a finger up my ass.
Come full circle.
Guess who else is going back to school?
Wasn't Sting famous for that?
Tantric sex, which is hours and hours and hours.
And it can be, because here's the thing too, once a man learns to orgasm without ejaculating, he can orgasm multiple times, because once you ejaculate, that's the cutoff. Then that's, then you're done. Yeah. In Chinese medicine, it's perceived that your energy or your ejaculate is called jing or essence. And every time you ejaculate, then the reason why men get tired is because all their essence just left them. We get zipped up and snuggle me and do all this stuff because we just got filled up with jing and essence. So it's a whole different deal. So yeah.
Baby, you don't need 5-hour energy. Here.
Fill me up.
But every time you do that, then you're taking time off of your end game in life. So
I know, but a life without that is not well lived.
No, but they're not saying don't do it.
Of course.
But that's why the motivation is to learn to orgasm without ejaculating. And then also, go ahead.
That's why we die. That's why we die 8 years earlier.
Did you know that? Did you know that you could orgasm without ejaculating?
I bet I've heard about it. I don't know that I've experienced it, maybe once or twice, but usually it's like, oh, I didn't come. So I guess something happened and I didn't feel fulfilled. So, but it was interesting. It's an interesting thing.
Well, and I would imagine mentally it would be
an interesting thing to try.
Very difficult a concept to grasp, because you're taught, or your belief system as men is that, ejaculating is everything. That's the key. That's the end goal, always the end goal. Yeah. So this is a paradigm shift of switching it up and doing it very differently. So yeah, but it takes a lot of effort and energy to train yourself to be able to do that. But it's extremely
and your balls get huge in the meantime.
No, you don't not ejaculate. There's actually a formula.
You've got to shop in a special section of the store for your underwear.
Oh, Tom.
The big and tall guy, it's the big
and
blue guy.
It's a blue ball section.
Exactly.
It's very interesting.
Exactly. It's very interesting stuff. Very interesting.
So if someone wanted to learn about that, Christy, where would you suggest that they would start learning? Let's say men out there watching saying, I would like to know more about that. What would your recommendation be as someone who has practiced and knows these things? Is there a way for the common man to start researching and learning something like that? There is.
And the teacher that I studied under, her name is Felice Dunas, Dr. Felice Dunas.
Okay.
And she has a book out, and it goes in and out of publication, but it's called Passion Play. Write that down, Melinda.
Passion in her book. Play. She's like Nixon. She writes everything down in a book.
If anybody got a hold of this book, I'm done.
What are you reading? I wish I could reach over there. Mine's over there somewhere on the bookcase. But it's a fabulous. Oh, hang on, I've got it. And should she pay me for plugging her for this?
I told Melinda many times we're not doing advertisements, but yet they continue.
Do them all the time. That's why I have all my books here.
Should I not do this?
Go right ahead, please. The 16 people watching will appreciate it.
I love the people.
The book.
Oh,
I don't know if you can.
Passion play. Okay. I like this. Okay, so now people can. I wonder if it comes in audio. I've been obsessed.
I'm not sure.
Will we say the title again and then spell the name so everybody can look it up? Because some folks might listen on.
Passion play.
Passion play.
And the author is Felice?
And the author is Felice Dunas, PhD.
How are we spelling Dunas?
Dunas.
Thank you.
Dunas. Okay, we all have work to do, people.
I'm going to call her up and tell her.
Who wouldn't want to know
your book?
Who would not want to know how to do that? Come on. I mean, Chrissy, you got to, I'm sure this has happened to you. And then Tom, you can tell us if it happened to you. I'm sure, like most women, you've been having sex with someone and they came too fast and you guys weren't really done yet, or at least you weren't done yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you lose a lot of what you could have gained had you been learning this practice where you could take longer. I know a lot of men would like to be able to last a little bit longer. Do you know the statistic? I knew this at one point. From the time a man starts having sex with a woman to the time he ejaculates, I think the average is something like 6 to 8 minutes. It's pretty fast.
It's pretty fast usually. Yeah. It's interesting. And it's the dynamic of understanding what's going on and what she teaches in the book. She teaches some old, like the Kama Sutra stuff, different things. There's all kinds of dynamics that are directly associated with those teachings. And, part of it is like learning how to communicate as a couple. I mean, it goes into real in-depth things in just the whole process of learning about it, whether you want to casual sex and what that does to your body and your health overall, because that's really, for me, the studying of it was about how to improve people's health in general. And then I was very curious because, I mean, who talks about sex all the time?
Right.
Us, right?
It's such an important component of our life, and we don't learn about it at all. We don't take classes. We don't read books. We make assumptions. We tell our friends. I mean, it's rare that I've been with a partner that they really want to talk about sex or talk about things that work or don't work. They just want to do it and not really have, the dialogue about it. I would love to know about casual sex, though, because I'm going to assume it's not good for you because of the energy passing forth.
Why is she ruining everything?
Did you moan?
Now I'm ruining it. Tom, you're not a fan of casual sex, are you? Are you a fan?
I'm not, but let's not take it off the board.
I'm not taking off the board. This is why men are so aggravating. All I said was, I don't think it's good for you. And Tom is like, oh, there's so many guys out there that love casual sex. Let's not ruin it for them. No, let's keep the Christy.
I was reacting to Christy because she was about to say casual sex is no good.
I didn't say
She's
it was
the
no
professional
good.
Here.
Sometimes casual sex is the best.
Thank you. Give me a prescription. Get another prescription.
It's not necessarily healthy for you. Because here's the other thing you have to remember, Tom, from a man's perspective, what we as women, and most women don't understand this either, because I think this information has just started coming out recently. But when you have unprotected sex with a man, or if a man ejaculates inside you, do you realize they found on autopsy that women have the DNA of every man that they've had sex with in their brain? It's in their brain.
Melinda mentions this every episode. I think
of all these guys' DNA being in my body. I'm not sure there's a lot, but
me out when I learned that. I was like, oh my God.
I don't like that one little bit. And I never considered that. And I wish I would have known that when I was younger.
Me too.
It was going to affect me to that level because it's so heavy to carry around people that you're not necessarily in love with or that aren't necessarily good for you, that you're carrying around their DNA.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, like, is that truly renting space in your head?
I think there's a way to think about that, though.
Can we charge them?
How should we think about it, Mom? I'm dying to know.
I'm not saying I don't know what the answer is, but I think to think about it in that way, being so negative, isn't there a way to spin it and say make it a little positive? Because you're not the DNA doesn't have the guy's shitty attitude or bad.
Well, then what the fuck is DNA?
That's what DNA
Well, I know, but it doesn't have his thoughts.
No.
Excuse me. You took me up there, Tom.
Now you're making Christy choke. You see what I put up with 3 days?
As a professional, she's choking on this information.
3 days a week, he tries to convince me that my thoughts are wrong. 3 days.
No. It bothers me that you've got a negative association with that, and I'm not trying to encourage it to happen.
I wasn't saying it negatively, but I was
She's
saying
taking
that.
it negatively.
I was.
But
I mean, it's horrific to think you've got this negative association with every relationship you've had in the past. I mean, that's not a good thing.
That's right.
I think you should take something positive out of the relationship. Like, I mean, I haven't been with a lot of women, but I've had some nice relationships, and I try to take something nice about that. You know, let's forget about the madness or the craziness and keep the good stuff.
But see, there again, Tom, you have a good relationship with Tina. You end relationships differently than most men. Most men.
But think of your worst.
She's living my dream, by the way.
Yes, she is. Yeah, she is. Think of your worst experience with the female.
Of course.
And her DNA swimming around your body.
I know. I'm saying I don't like to have that thought because I don't want to carry negativity with me.
But see, unless she's truly like women, you guys don't carry around our DNA so much. You guys don't absorb all that so much.
Believe me, I've been
it's not going directly into your.
Believe me, I had crabs a couple of times. I got something from that relationship that lasted beyond a moment. Huh.
So yeah. Okay, touche.
All right. Okay. We're just going to let everybody sit with that one for a minute.
We've got 1 minute to say goodbye, by the way, before Zoom cuts us off.
Oh, no.
We are going to have to continue this. We're learning a lot. Christy has a lot to share. We didn't really, I wanted to get into some of the meat and bones about the understanding about herbs and how that can change the dynamic of,
Absolutely.
So much to learn.
All right. Because, definitely. I'd be happy to, guys.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much, Christy. Thank you.
We had time on this show more than we've ever said it before.
It's a new record. All right, so we got to say goodbye.
Okay.
To Christy, thanks for stopping by and helping us unpack some shit. My name is Tom
Thank
Wise.
you.
I'm Melinda McKinsey.
And that's another one in the can. We'll be back Wednesday with more stuff to yammer about.
Yeah.
The chattery will continue.
Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Bye, guys. Thanks.